Okay, today we're going to be going over scale drawings and models. What a scale drawing or a scale model is it's something that's used to represent an object that is too large or small to be drawn or built at actual size. So for example, if you had like a model of an airplane that's to scale, that means if you were to just stretch it out and blow it up until it reached the same size of an airplane, it would still look the same. And what the scale is it's the ratio of a given length on the drawing or model to its corresponding length on the actual object. So for example, if we had that model of an airplane and I told you that 1 inch equals 3 feet, that means that for every 1 inch the model is, it would be 3 feet on the actual airplane. So let's suppose the model of a dragonfly was a wing length of 4 centimeters. If the length of the insect's actual wing is 6 centimeters, what is the scale of the model? So that's telling us that our model length is 4 centimeters and our actual is 6 centimeters. To figure out that scale, we want to know what 1 centimeter on the model equals on the actual dragonfly. And we know now we cross multiply. So 4 centimeters times x will give us 4 times x. And that equals 6 times 1, which is just 6. To get x all by itself, I'm going to divide by 4. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Our 4's cancel out, and we end up with x equals 6 over 4, which is the same thing as 1/2. Let's try another one. So here it says, the pillars of the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. are 17 feet tall. I know right away that I'm going to need to know something with 17 feet, so let's just write that down. A scale model of the memorial has pillars that are 5 inches tall. What is the scale of the model? So if our real pillars are 17 feet tall and our model pillars are 5 inches tall, we want to figure out what the scale of our model is. So for every 1 inch on our model, when you're trying to figure these out, always figure out your model size in 1. Whether it be on the top or the bottom, you want whatever size the model is to be what is in 1. So that's how you decide that. And we don't know what that scale is. So in order to do this, just like we did yesterday and we did in the earlier problem, we're going to cross multiply. 5 times x and 17 times 1, which is just 17. To get x by itself, we divide by 5. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Our 5's cancel out, and we get x equals 17 over 5. 5 goes into 17 3 times, and there is 2 left over, so 3 and 2/5 feet to 1 inch. And you would write that as 1 inch equals 3 and 2/5 feet. And let's go back to that last one. We would write that as, if our x is 1.5, we would have 1 centimeter on our model equals 1.5 centimeters on our actual dragonfly. So what a scale factor is what it is having the same units. So if our scale is 1 inch equals 2 feet, we want to get that so they're both in inches. We want them to have the same units. So we know that we can write this as a fraction, 1 inch to 2 feet. Let's get this in inches. So we want to change our feet. In order to get rid of that feet, our feet need to go on top, and we want to change that feet into inches. So we'll put our inches on the bottom. I know that for every 1 foot, we have 12 inches. Our feet are going to cancel out, so our answer is going to be in inches over inches, which is exactly what we want. And just like before, we're going to multiply straight across. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 12 is 24. And our label is inches both times, which is perfect. And so then the scale factor we would write as 1 over 24, or you could also write it as 1 to 24, whichever one makes you the happiest. So here we get the blueprint of a skateboard ramp shows that its length is 11.4 inches, and you can see that right there in the picture. If the scale on the blueprint is 1 inch equals 6 feet, what is the length of the actual skateboard ramp? So here we know that our scale is 1 inch is equal to 6 feet. On our actual skateboard ramp, we have 11.4 inches. Sorry, on the scale. We want to know what that is in the actual skateboard ramp. So we put our scale up on top, just like how our 1 inch was up on top there. And we don't know what this is, so I'm just going to put x. How do we solve for x? And it's x feet. You cross multiply. 1 times x is just x, and that equals 6 times 11.4, which is 68.4. And look at that. Our answer is x, so it's 68.4. Don't forget to add the label feet. And what that's telling us is that our actual skateboard ramp is 68.4 feet long. Our next problem says, a map of a natural history museum shows that the dinosaur exhibit room is 7.25 inches wide. If the scale on the map is 1 inch equals 8 feet, what is the width of the actual exhibit room? Here is where I would suggest that you pause and try to solve this on your own, and then you can kind of fast forward me talking through the next problem if you get it, and see if you got the same answer. Okay, so here we know that our scale is 1 inch to 8 feet. If our model is 7.25 inches wide, how big is our actual room? Once again, we're just going to cross multiply. 1 times x is x. 8 times 7.25 is 58. Our x is all alone, so right away 58 is our answer. Add our label of feet, because that's what our actual room is measured in, and voila! The width of the actual exhibit room is 58 feet. If you have any questions about cross-multiplying, don't be afraid to ask. I can come over and help you. Our next example is we're going to actually be making scale drawings. And what a scale drawing is it's using the actual measurements of the object and the scale to which an object is being drawn. So if you ever see blueprints of a house, or if you're building a fence, or just like how JWP is thinking about upgrading their football field and all the athletic stuff down there, they need to make their drawings and samples to scale. So we're going to kind of do that here, but just a more simple version. It says Lila is painting a mural at the community center on a wall that measures 18 feet long and 12 feet tall. Make a scale drawing of the mural. And it says to use a scale of 1/4 inch equals 3 feet. And this grid paper that you kind of have right here, and it's on your note sheet, is actually 1/4 inch grid paper. So each square is 1/4 inch long. So here it's saying that the wall in the community center is 18 feet long. So let's figure out how long we're going to make our mural. So our scale is 1/4 inch to 3 feet. Our actual wall is 18 feet. We want to figure out what our scale is. So we're going to go 1/4 times 18, because we're going to cross multiply, and we get 4 2/4 equals 3 times x. If we want to get x all by itself, you got to divide by 3. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And this ends up telling us that the length is 1.5. When you do your math, that's what you get. 4.5 divided by 3 gives you 1.5. So if our length is 1.5 inches, and we have 1/4 inch paper here, how many fourths are in 1.5? One whole has 4, and 1/2 equals 2/4. So we're going to have 4, 5, 6/4 filled out, because 1.5 equals 6/4. So I have to fill across 6 of these here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. And now we need to figure out the height in order to be able to make this work out. So we're going to try to erase, and this doesn't like me as much as my smartboard does. So let's just erase everything we can. And we need to figure out what that height is. So first things first, we got our scale of 1/4 inch to 3 feet. Our actual mural here is 12 feet tall. So we're going to have a 12 feet down here and an X up here, because that's what we're trying to figure out. Once again, we got to cross multiply. So 3 feet times X gives you 3 times X, and that equals 1/4 times 12, which is 3. We want to get X all by itself, so you got to divide by 3. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Those cancel out. We have X equals 3 divided by 3, which is 1, and our label is inches. So we have 1 inch tall. Since these are in fourths, we have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 inch, 4/4 inch. So we fill in 4 of those squares. And then we just have to close up our wall, and that was not very perfect. Sorry, my alignment's off. But there we go. There's a scale model of that community center mural. Here on this problem, once again, highly suggest pausing, trying to solve this on your own, and then double checking with my work with what you have, just like how we do in class. This says an architect is designing a school courtyard that is 45 feet long and 30 feet wide. Make a scale drawing of the courtyard. Use a scale of 0.5 inch equals 10 feet. And here we're going to be looking at a bird's eye view of this courtyard. So if our scale is 0.5 inch to 10 feet, you can always write that down right away. Let's try to figure out how long it is because that's what's written first. So our length is 45 feet. And up here, we don't know the scale yet, so I'm going to put X. Just like we've been doing, we're going to have to cross multiply. So 10 times X equals 0.5 times 45, which gives us 22.5. To get X all by itself, we're going to have to divide by 10. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Our 10s cancel out, and we get X equals 22.5 divided by 10. I'm going to move my decimal over, and it's 2.25, which would be 2 1/4. To figure out how to draw that here with our 1/4 inch graph paper, it's still the same size. How many 1/4 inches are in 2 whole inches? You're going to have to do 2 times 1/4. Oops, 4/4. Sorry, that's how many are in 1. And we get 8/4 plus our additional 1/4 there. So 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9/4. So we're going to have to fill out 9 of these boxes. So I'm just going to go start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there's our length. Got that taken care of. Let's erase. And we're going to figure out our height. First things first, write down that scale in a fraction. 0.5 inch over 10 feet. And that's going to equal our length of 30 feet. Do we know how tall that is on our scale? Not yet, but we're going to figure it out. 10 times X, we're cross multiplying, is just 10 times X. And that equals 0.5 times 30, so half of 30, which is 15. Get X all by itself, you're going to divide by 10. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Our 10s cancel out, and we get X equals 1.5, which if we put that in fourths would be 1 2/4. Get it in an improper fraction. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6/4. So we need to fill out 6 of these boxes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we just close up our box, and I'm still not very good at drawing that. That's supposed to be right along that line. And there's our scale model of the courtyard. Now what you're able to do is go on to the classroom and try today's assignment, and I'm here to come around and help if you need me to. I hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck on the assignment.